To all the non-believers, 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 non-believers. I'm making non-believers say, oh.
What's up, y'all? This is Jay Varsity, and welcome back to NBA Talk. This is episode 106, playoff edition. Whew, man. I'm just gonna get this out the way real quick. As a Heat fan, I'm so relieved that we finally knocked out the Bucks. I'm just so relieved. Oh my God! I'm not gonna lie. My blood pressure probably went up in game 4. I was heated losing game 4, and I was having bad. I had a bad feeling just in the first half in game 5, but whew, man, that boy Tyler Hero made sure that we didn't lose. Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, and Jay Crowder made sure we didn't lose. Whew, now that we got that out the way, the Miami Heat, as I just mentioned, they beat the Bucks in Game 5, and that was nerve wracking. That was very nerve wracking, and because the Bucks were not going out without a fight. You had Dante DiVincenzo knocking down big shots. You had Wesley Matthews knocking down shots. You had Pat Connaughton knocking down some huge 3-pointers. They were just firing, man. And at first, I was getting really scared that we was gonna get blown out because I saw that we were already down 10 in the first quarter, and then the second quarter we just went off. The Miami Heat just went off in the 3-point line. They got back to how they played defense, and they just set the tone and set the pressure on Milwaukee again. And the third quarter it was back and forth, but in the fourth quarter that boy Tyler Hero, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I talked my crap when Miami drafted him. I was like, who the hell is Tyler Hero until I did my research on him and saw what his game was like. And this kid is a killer. This kid is an absolute killer. I was happy with the way they closed out. I thought we were gonna have a reminiscent of the game 2 finish because it was getting a little fishy with all these fouls that were being called, but nah, the Heat managed to pull away in game 5 like I thought they would. Because I'm telling you, if we would have went to the game 6, I would have lost. I would have lost. I would have lost it. I would have really lost it. But Miami eliminates the number 1 seed Milwaukee Bucks. Now this. What can you say? The Milwaukee Bucks did what they tried. They really did try. They tried. Chris Middleton tried to carry them to a game 6. Brook Lopez was kind of killing Bam on the offensive boards a little bit throughout the game. But Miami just, whenever they set their defense, it was just a problem for Milwaukee. Just like the rest of the series was, except when they had Giannis, it was even worse. This time it was like the fourth quarter, they couldn't find a bucket because Chris Middleton was damn near being doubled every possession. So they didn't know who to go to, and Eric Bledsoe was just bricking shots. And Brook Lopez, I think Brook Lopez was the only person in the fourth quarter that was actually putting up some form of numbers in the closing minutes. But like I said, Miami put that pressure on. Andre Iguodala was switched on Chris Middleton. He was having problems. Jimmy Butler just kept going to the line. He was aggressive that he was going to the free throw line, and that's what closed out the game. Tyler Hero was his penetration was really killing the Bucks defense. Finding Bam Adebayo for that lob, hitting those back-to-back threes. Those were huge. Jay Crowder hitting his 3-pointers, which he's been really good at throughout this postseason. He's been hitting his 3-pointers at a very high clip. That all played big into this Game 5 win. And now there's multiple questions. There's multiple questions about the Milwaukee Bucks. And the first question that was asked to Giannis was whether or not he would request a trade. Obviously, Giannis came came right with the response, and he said no. But here's a question I would have asked for the reporter. Why would you ask that kind of question when you know talks like that happen behind closed doors? Like, you don't know if a player wants to get traded unless their agent says it, or they talk to the GM or something like that. What makes you think they're gonna say it in a post game interview? What makes you think that Giannis would have told you that he was gonna request a trade in a post game interview? Like, I just want to know the common sense. I just want to know, where's the common sense in that? Like, who the hell is gonna say I want to get traded after just being eliminated just minutes ago? Like that was just a really dumb question to ask right there. So now you got Bucks fans feeling secure that Giannis is gonna stay, but I wouldn't be so confident in that, because that's just a common sense answer that he gave, that he wants to build a culture, and obviously he's been there for a while. They're the only team that trusted him to be able to draft him. So, but here's my question. Like I said, what makes you think that Giannis would say that he would want to get traded in a post-game interview after just getting eliminated in Game 5? The man couldn't play Game 5 because he had a messed up ankle, and he just watched his team with the team with the best record in the NBA get eliminated. So to me, I don't find Giannis's answer so reassuring, because it sounds like a generic answer for a player that doesn't want to talk about their free agency right after a playoff loss. So there's more to me. There's more to see. There's more things to come when it comes to Giannis, because Giannis is going to be one of the trending topics throughout this whole postseason. Now, what is going to be awkward? What's going to be awkward is we're going to have they haven't even presented the MVP award, and it's going to look awkward when Giannis accepts the MVP award, because he just got bounced in the second round. Like, this is by far, this is worse than when they got eliminated in the conference finals. This is worse. I'm being dead serious. Like, Giannis's MVP season can go down almost as comparable to Dirk Nowitzki's 2007 MVP. It could go down just as bad, but the only reason Giannis's won't be as bad is because he got injured, and he had injured his ankle in Game 3, and then he re-injured it again in Game 4. Why was that so hard to word? But all in all, it led to the Bucks being eliminated, and Miami's going to the conference finals. And I just want to get this out the way. All the people I see on Instagram and all the people I see making YouTube videos talking about Giannis going to Golden State and all that. Well, I watched this. I have my dream lineups and all that, and I would love for Giannis to go to Miami. I think Miami has a better culture. They have a group of rough riders and dogs that like to play like Giannis. They don't care who they're playing in front of, and they just want to compete. I think Jimmy Butler and Giannis would make a great pair. Like, I'm not even kidding. I think just adding Giannis to this roster, it makes this Miami Heat team the best defensive team in the league. And last but not least, I think we have more shooters than than the Bucks do. I think Miami has more elite shooters than the Bucks do. That's just me talking. But I know, and then you got a team president like Pat Riley who's not afraid to go for it when it comes to big time free agents, and I think he would know how to present to Giannis in his free agency when we get to that point. But this whole dream lineup that people are trying to make up with Steph, Clay, Draymond, and Giannis and all that. It's just not gonna happen. Why? Because Draymond's still making as much money as Giannis. Draymond and Giannis have the same exact contract, if anybody has noticed. And to me, it wouldn't be a great fit for Giannis because he plays the power forward position and so does Draymond. Now I know a lot of people are gonna say, "Oh, Draymond's gonna be gone if that's the case." Another thing, if I'm Giannis, why would I want to go to the Western Conference and play against guys like LeBron, Kawhi Leonard, play against teams like the Dallas Mavericks, the Utah Jazz, the Houston Rockets? Why would I want to play those guys on a regular basis when I could go to the Eastern Conference? When I could go to the Eastern Conference, the only teams I got to deal with are the Boston Celtics and the Brooklyn Nets. Because who knows what's going to go on with the Philadelphia 76ers. They're still up in the air. But my question is, why not Miami? Like, I understand Miami would have to let go of some pieces. I think Dragic would most likely be gone. Dragic will most likely be gone, and we'll probably lose another piece, depending on who it is. It depends whether I get mad or not, because that will get on my nerves if we lose a key piece. But I think Giannis on the Miami Heat would be the perfect fit. But if he wants to stay in Milwaukee, that's a whole different story. But we have to officially see that. We have to officially see that. And I'm not. And that generic answer that Giannis gave was not reassuring. It was not reassuring whatsoever. But yeah, that whole thing with him going to Golden State, that's not happening. A lot of teams are not going to have the cap to go after Giannis the following season. A lot of teams are not going to have the cap space. And the three teams that are going to be the biggest threats are the Miami Heat, the Toronto Raptors, and the Dallas Mavericks. So I think the Giannis sweepstakes has officially begun. I think Giannis just doesn't want to say anything. He just doesn't want to start any commotion. So let's see what happens from there. But speaking of the Milwaukee Bucks, how do they move on from here? How do they move on from here? Now, multiple people have stated, and even sources have stated, that the Bucks are ready to go all in to get Chris Paul. Here's my problem with getting Chris Paul. Chris Paul is on a very expensive contract. He's making $41 million, and you would have to gut pretty much some key pieces of your roster to get Chris Paul. Like, I'm not gonna lie, you're probably gonna have to lose Dante DiVincenzo, Eric Bledsoe, Ilyasova, and you'll probably have to give up a couple of draft picks. You'll probably have to give up a couple of draft picks to get a guy like Chris Paul, because the Thunder are clearly rebuilding. You're either gonna lose Dante DiVincenzo or Pat Connaughton. You're losing one of them. Or if they're gonna go that far, you're probably gonna lose Brook Lopez. Because the Thunder just might trade Steven Adams. So, to me, I don't know how much better. Now, if you're going to tell me Chris Paul, Chris Middleton, and Giannis are going to be on the same team, they're going to be formidable. They're going to be a contender. But with how much you got to gut the roster to get a guy like Chris Paul, is it really worth it? Is it really worth doing it? Because your chances get even slimmer next year, because you're going to have teams like Brooklyn with KD and Kyrie back. Like I said, you don't know what the Sixers are going to do. The Toronto Raptors, what are they going to do? And I think they might fall out of contention, because I think some of their guys might be gone in free agency. The Miami Heat are most likely going to be intact are going to stay intact for next season. And the Boston Celtics, who knows if their bench gets deeper? Like, they're making a deep run as it is with the roster they got right now. So my question for the Milwaukee Bucks is Is it real? Is it really worth gutting your roster to get a guy like Chris Paul? Because right now your roster is very deep, and you're trying to get Giannis to stay, and you need a floor general that could create his own shot. Because you saw the weaknesses that Eric Bledsoe had in the playoffs, and you saw how Chris Paul was basically creating his own shots and basically deciding the game and picking apart defenses just with his ball handling alone. Yes, it would benefit a guy like Giannis, but how much better would the Milwaukee Bucks be? How much better? They've had a 60-win season the year before. They were on pace to win 70 this year. Obviously, with the pandemic, that didn't happen. So, and now you're gonna go all in to get Chris Paul. And what if that doesn't work and Giannis just still bounces? So that's just my question to you. How much better do you think the Milwaukee Bucks can get? Do you think it's smart for them to get Chris Paul? I personally I don't know. It's a flip a coin kind of thing, because it could work out really good or it could work out really bad, because the roster might be even weaker than it was before. The roster might be weaker than it was before, and to tell you the truth, I don't even think it secures them a chance of winning a title. So that's it for that topic. You're gonna hear, like I said, you're gonna be hearing Giannis's name in free agency talks for like a whole nother year from this point on. So we're definitely might cover some more of what improvements the Bucks can make, or what sort rumors and sources that we're gonna be hearing about when it comes to Giannis. So there's more to come when it comes to that. The second game of the night, we had Game 3 of the Rockets and the Lakers. And to me, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. I'm going to be brutally honest with you. The Houston Rockets just threw their best punch. I think the Houston Rockets just threw their best punch, because Russell Westbrook had a way better game than he did in Game 2. Harden still put up his numbers, but the Lakers' defensive pressure in that fourth quarter, because the Lakers were playing absolutely no defense in the first half. I don't know how the hell the game was still that close when they were playing absolutely no defense. But LeBron from the jump set the tone, and he was just on a score. Between him, Anthony Davis, and Rajon Rondo, they all set the tone of how this game was going to go. And Rondo, again, set the tone on defense. Rondo set the tone on defense with the smart double teams on James Harden, getting on ball, just playing great on ball defense. Kuzma playing great on ball defense. The Lakers defensively, when they are locked in, they are the best defensive team in the playoffs. I'm not trying even to sound biased here. Between the Miami Heat and the Los Angeles Lakers, when they're both locked in, they're both the two best defensive teams in the playoffs. But LeBron was just keeping them in there, and he was just knocking down threes after threes. He was just playing with them. Like, he was doing what I thought he was gonna do from the jump in Game 1, which was just go dominate the paint, let them know that having Eric Gordon on you was gonna be a nightmare, and so him and Anthony Davis were just picking them apart. And then you add the shooting from Rondo. He was knocking down big three-pointers. Kuzma was getting great offensive boards, playing great defense. And speaking of defense, LeBron damn near had 4 blocks in one quarter. That was so satisfying to me, watching LeBron block James Harden. That was satisfying to me. That was satisfying for me to watch, because I don't know. It's just Harden's game just gets on my nerves. But yeah, Westbrook, he wasn't settling for a lot of 3-point shots, but he was attacking the paint. but the end result was still the same. The Lakers ended up still winning by double digits, and they locked down extremely in that fourth quarter. That fourth quarter alone, the Lakers were just locking down. They played this. They were playing the same swarming kind of defense that the Rockets played in Game 7 against the Thunder. They damn near played the same type of swarming defense, and it killed Houston, because it's even worse when a team that's that big and that's that big and that athletic decides that they're gonna do the same type of defense. And they didn't play JaVale McGee that long either, because JaVale McGee was rendered practically useless. He was pretty useless in the game. So they just said, you know what, let's just keep Markieff Morris in. Markieff Morris made a huge impact. He was a huge impact when it came to stretching the floor. They were beating Houston at their own game. They beat Houston at their own game. They beat them at small ball. It's like, what? I think, like I said, I think Houston just gave their best punch, because both their players played great. Their shots were not falling because the Lakers put a lot of pressure on their defense. The shots were not falling. They were making them work on the defensive end, which led to them being flat on the offensive end. The Lakers were putting pressure on their three-point shooting. When you live by the three and die by the three, you're taking a huge risk of coming out flat. Because all teams gotta make you do is work harder on the defensive end, and it's gonna be even harder for you to get your shots set. And when you got a team like the Lakers, who play one of the best defenses in the NBA, they're gonna make you work hard to get those shots. You saw Eric Gordon wasn't getting that wide open like he did in Game 2. It was just a nightmare for the Rockets. To me, the Rockets threw their very best punch, and I don't know. You could look in the comments, and you could decide if the series is done. Do you think the Lakers have figured out the Rockets? Do you think the Rockets can have one more trick up their sleeve? To me, the Rockets threw everything that they could throw. I think they threw every strategy that they could throw, because once the Lakers figured out their strategy, it was just they were confused, they were dumbfounded. James Harden didn't know what to do with the ball. He was trying to put on a solo act to bring them back in the game, and it was over. It was just over. The fourth quarter, once the Lakers kept the lead within 10. Once they kept that 10-point lead, and once we hit that 2-minute mark, it was like it was over. Houston had no shot because the pressure was just too much. Rondo and Kuzma double teaming James Harden, LeBron getting on ball steals, playing the passing lane, Anthony Davis swatting shots, Markieff Morris. Oh, I'm telling you, you had Alex Caruso and Rondo hitting big time 3-pointers. It was a great effort by the Los Angeles Lakers. The Houston Rockets tried to come back and try to take the lead, but I think the Lakers have just now figured them out. They figured them out, and I think, like I said, the Houston Rockets threw their best punch. I think they threw their best punch. I think the Lakers know how to defend them now at this point. It's like, what else can you do with small ball? What else can you do with small ball? Like, the whole system of the Houston Rockets is to live and die by the three. And Robert Covington, who suffered a really bad injury after taking an elbow to Anthony Davis incidentally, and he had to leave the game. Hopefully he's all right and he makes a speedy recovery. But like I said, I think the Lakers have figured them out. I think the Houston Rockets, their chances at winning this series is even slimmer now. LeBron showed that nobody in Houston can guard him. So I think I've just about covered everything I had to cover when it comes to the Lakers and the Rockets. But yeah, like I said, you're gonna be hearing Giannis's name all over the place from here on out, from here to the end of next season. So don't be surprised if you hear it on ESPN, FS1, or any other of these sports networks. You're gonna be hearing Giannis's name all over the damn place. And for whenever I call out ESPN and all these other sports networks, I'm not doing it out of disrespect. I'm just trying to call them out for them to be consistent on certain topics. So, but yeah, that's why I have this channel in the first place, to talk about topics that they don't mention when they talk about the actual games, instead of just bringing up the same old basic statistics. So, yeah, that's about everything I had to cover. Tell me, what else did I miss? Oh yeah, I forgot to mention when it came to the Milwaukee Bucks. They when I say that their roster is gonna get cut, Marvin Williams just officially retired. He officially retired right after the series was over. So that's already one piece gone when it comes to Milwaukee. And like I said, their roster might get gutted if they decided to go all in on getting Chris Paul. But yeah, like I said, you're going to be hearing the Milwaukee Bucks, the Miami Heat, the Dallas Mavericks, and the Toronto Raptors being mentioned all over the place when it comes to free agency. No more of this Golden State talk. No more of this Golden State. Golden State, they're not in the mix. Stop it. But anyway, that's it. That's all. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys are enjoying the playoffs as much as I am. These things are getting really interesting now, and let's see what goes on from here. Let's see if Boston finishes off. Let's see what Boston does and doesn't find a way to choke this game 6. Let's see if because apparently somebody said I finally said something nice about Boston. Well, don't get used to it, because if they choke game 6, it will be so funny. It'll be so funny if they choke game 6. And let's see what Denver has in response for the Clippers after that ridiculous game 3 that I saw the other day. And I think you know exactly how I felt about that. But yeah, like I said, that's it. That's all. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell if you like basketball content. This is your boy Jay Varsity, and I am out. Peace.
We got some non-believers out there.
Make believers out of non-believers. Make believers out the overseas. Make them bow down.